the president had imposed steel and aluminum tariffs on quite a few countries back in around the 23rd of March. And when he did that, he also granted temporary exemptions to South Korea, to Argentina, to Brazil, to Australia, to the European Union, and to Canada and Mexico. Those exemptions are scheduled to expire at midnight, May 31st. He has decided in the case of Canada, Mexico, and the European Union not to extend the exemptions, and therefore they will be placed under the 25% tariff on steel and the 10% tariff on aluminum effective midnight tonight.
Wow.
As to the other countries, he had announced earlier an arrangement with South Korea, and that arrangement consisted of a quota consisting of a volume limitation, 70% of their average steel exports to the U.S. during the period January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2017. And it left the 10% aluminum tax in place. Today, as to the other countries, namely Argentina, Australia, and Brazil, there has been arranged limitations on the volume that they can ship to the U.S. in lieu of quotas, in lieu of tariffs, sorry. So they also, while they're exempted from tariffs, they will be subject to constraint, and therefore we believe that this combined package achieves the original objectives we had set out, which were namely to constrict the imports of steel and aluminum to a level that would allow those industries to operate domestically on a self-sustaining basis as we go forward. So while in a few cases the form of the constraint has changed from tariff, the objectives remain the same, and we believe these attain those objectives. As to Canada and Mexico, you will recall that the reason for the deferral had been pending the outcome of the NAFTA talks. As have been released publicly, those talks are taking longer than we had hoped. There is no longer a very precise date when they may be concluded, and therefore they were added into the list of those who will bear tariffs. Similarly, we had had discussions with the European Commission, and while those made some progress, they also did not get to the point where it was warranted either to give a continued temporary exemption or a permanent exemption. And that's why those tariffs have gone into effect. As you're aware, this is all based on the national security needs as defined in Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962. That remains the authority under which these have been promulgated. We look forward to continued negotiations both with Canada and Mexico on the one hand and with the European Commission on the other hand, because there are other issues that we also need to get resolved. It is also the case that under the proclamation for these actions and under the underlying legislation, the President has the ability unilaterally to increase tariffs, decrease tariffs, eliminate them, impose quotas instead, impose a combination of tariffs and quotas, more or less to do anything he wishes at any point subsequent to today, and therefore there is potential flexibility going forward.